Today, I will try to beat Super Mario 3D World on the Nintendo Switch without ever touching a single block. Brick blocks? Illegal! Question mark blocks? No way! Any block is a no-go. Can we do it? Let's just jump into it. World 1-1 is actually pretty simple, but I soon realized that not touching a single block will also prevent me from getting epic power-ups like the cat suit. I still managed to get through the first part quite fast, and when I landed near the checkpoint flag, I realized that there was a cat suit in this tree over there. Oh, that's actually quite cool. An epic power-up and no block touched. Nice. 1-2 is full of purple brick blocks all over the place, so we'll have to be careful where we step foot, cause we definitely don't want to touch a yucky block. 1-3 was actually quite easy thanks to the cat suit, as I could just climb to the top and beat the stage. Oh, and for this teleporter box there, I did the research. It's a teleporter box, not a block, so we can actually use those without any issues. 1-4 is all about riding Plessis to the end, and there are no blocks on the way. 1-5 didn't feature that many blocks and was pretty easy to clear. 1-Captain Toad is really annoying me. You see, the Captain Toad stages are all made out of blocks, and although these are grassy blocks, I still do think that they are blocks, meaning we cannot actually play a single Captain Toad stage. Should have never bought your game twice, Captain Toad, you traitor. Into the trash you go. 1-Castle contains a bunch of grey blocks on the way, but here's the thing, this level is full of rolling bombs that you can use to break those dangerous blocks. Hey, I don't have to touch them and I can get rid of them, that's even better. The boss fight was quite easy, and with it done, we can move to the next level. World 2-1 is actually not too difficult, and we can use the conch door enemies to break more blocks, which is always satisfying. 2-2 was super easy, and so was 2-3, which didn't feature any blocks on the way. 2-4 did feature a couple blocks, but there's always another path that we can take to avoid touching them. 2-5 features the double cherry, which actually doubles your chances of touching a block, so I would advise against actually grabbing it. 2-tank is up, and this level wasn't too difficult. It does contain a couple blocks here and there, but we can avoid them all by being careful. World 3-1 is full of snow, but not full of blocks, meaning we can easily beat it and move to 3-2, which is an auto-scroller stage. And the first part does contain a few blocks you have to move in between. They're not too difficult to dodge though, so you'll be good. 3-3 is full of booze, peepaws, and scary flying couches, but it doesn't contain that many blocks. 3-4 is probably the shortest level in this game, cause beating it takes about 30 seconds. 3-5 takes place underwater, so obviously there's plenty of room to swim around the evil blocks on the way. 3-6 is the famous Mario Kart level, where you gotta go as fast as Sonic. Don't worry about blocks, as you'll be going way too fast to touch a single one. 3-7 is going to be quite annoying, as it features a bunch of green arrow platforms on rails, which is all good, but at many points in the level, well, you'll need to hit some red blocks in order to make rails appear to use the arrow platforms. So this is where the problem appears. We cannot actually touch those blocks. So how are we supposed to clear those big gaps? Well, playing as Princess Peach actually allowed me to do this crazy cat dive jump, which then allowed me to climb back to safety, which was very scary, but possible. The only problem is that the end of the stage contains way more green arrow platforms and also way more red blocks. What can we do? Is this the end of the quest? Well, here is what I tried. I decided to just YOLO long jump to the right and ouch! Wait a minute, I bunked on this wall, sure, but it might be possible to actually clear the stage. Let's try it again and oh, I went too far. Okay, final try. Oh yes, I did it! Barely, but I did it! The quest is still alive! 3-train is super easy, and with this one done, we can get to the next world. right after we defeat the boss in 3-B. World 4-1 does contain a few blocks here and there, but none that can't be avoided. 4-2 is pretty straightforward and will be cleared in no time. 4-3 is called the Beep Block Skyway, and it is full of, well, beat blocks. These blue and red blocks appear and vanish to the beat of the music, which is actually a pretty neat idea, just not today cause we're avoiding blocks. Thankfully, I managed to avoid all of them by doing quick jumps and by climbing on the walls using the cat suit. This was actually pretty stressful, but all possible. Up until I reached the end of the stage where you are actually forced to slide on those blocks. I tried doing a YOLO long jump again with Peach, but no, this didn't work a second time. We have to touch a couple blocks in this stage. Ah, that sucks. But here's the thing! This stage is actually on a split path, so we don't actually have to play it! 4-4 is full of spring mushroom platforms, which are not blocks, they're platforms, so we're all good. 4-5 contains lots of spikes and spiky things, but no blocks that we cannot avoid. 4-Castle does contain a bunch of brick blocks all over the place, but we can easily dodge them, or we can let the boulder enemies break them while rolling, which is pretty helpful. World 5-1 is not too complicated and can be cleared without touching a block. 5-2 is also a total joke. 5-3 is definitely the shortest stage ever, and can be cleared in 10 seconds or less. I mean, I'm just talking right now, and as you can see, I'm about to beat it, and there you go, I did it. 5-4 was actually pretty easy up until I reached this part where we have to use the clear pipes in order to go up the mountain. Look at what we have here, evil blocks. But I had to use my cat suit to actually climb up the wall, and it was a bit complicated because I had to dodge a couple enemies and stuff, but I still managed to do it without touching the evil blocks. 5-5 is full of blocks, but it's also full of bombs to break them all, which is quite helpful. 5-6 was super easy, but 5-7 on the other hand was quite the challenge. Most of the level is made out of brick blocks, which we cannot step foot on, meaning we'll have to do a bunch of scary jumps above the lava, but thankfully it's possible to reach the end. But uh-oh, this final part is full of blocks. How are we expected to get to the top? Well, as you can see, amongst those blocks, we can also see some platforms. These tiny platforms are all that we need to get to the top and clear the stage. Whew, we were quite lucky. I thought this was the end. 5-Castle was super easy, and with it done, we can get to the next world. 6-1 was pretty easy, and 6-2 wasn't much more complicated. 6-3 featured a couple blocks, but we can avoid them all. 6-4 is full of poison water, but the couple blocks on the way are easy to dodge. 6-5 was free of blocks, and 6-6 also didn't contain that many. 6-7 will force you to be slow and take your time to avoid touching a block that might be out of your sight, as the stage auto-scrolls very slowly. But if you take your time, you'll be okay. 6-Tank is full of brick blocks to avoid, and thankfully, there seems to always be room to avoid them all, no matter the situation. 6-C was a simple boss fight, and with it done, we can get to World 7-1, which is actually pretty simple. 7-2 features a bunch of panels to step on, but no blocks. In 7-3, you have to run as fast as you can to get to the end on time, but thankfully, blocks will be the last of your problems. 7-4 is actually quite scary because of all the blue lava, but it's possible to beat it. 7-5 was pretty easy, and so was 7-6. There only was one part featuring blocks underwater, but I managed to swim in between them all. 7-7 was full of lava and other dangerous things, but blocks are not a problem here. 7-Castle was also quite simple, and defeating Bowser was quick and blockless. World 8-1 contains a few blocks, but the real danger are those spiky platforms all over the place. Be on the lookout and everything will be good. 8-2 was a very simple Plessy level, and 8-3 was a very simple Cookie level. Yummy. 8-Train contains a bunch of blocks, some smaller and some bigger, so we'll have to be very careful. 8-4 is the land of invisible platforms, but don't you worry about blocks. 8-5 is full of floating water blocks, and to be fair, I don't know what to do about those things. Like, are they actually considered blocks since I'm actually swimming inside of them? Or are they just floating water bubbles? You know what? I don't know. But it doesn't really matter because this level is on a split path. So let's just skip it and let's move on. 8-6 was a bit more complicated than usual, as I couldn't touch those flashlight blocks, which meant I had to survive without defeating the Peepas and the Boos. Thankfully, it's all possible. 8-7 is home of this big dude called Grumblump, and he really looks like a block, but it's actually a living and breathing thing, not a simple block, so touching it is not a problem. I'm sorry, Grumblump. I know some people in the comments are going to call you a block, that's very rude, but don't listen to them. Next up, I had to defeat both bosses again to open up the last level, but as you can tell, there are no blocks here. 8-Bowser was actually quite easy up until you fight Meowser. The first part is easy to clear, but in order to unlock the second part of the fight, we need to hit a Yucky Pow block. Uh-oh, I guess we're going to need something to hit the block without touching it. Something like a boomerang flower! And it works! Nice! Let's keep moving up the tower, and oh no, look at this giant POW block! We have to hit it a couple times to defeat Meowser, but let's hope the boomerang flower will work again, and it does! It works! Meowser is gone, and everything is saved! Yes, it is possible to beat Super Mario 3D World without touching a single block. We needed to do a very tricky long jump, and we also needed to avoid a few levels on split paths, and finally, we did have to use the boomerang flower to beat the game, but yes, we did it. I can't believe that worked. Wow, that was actually pretty cool. Hey, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Tap the cards on screen if you want to watch more, and as for me, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!